Hey folks, good morning. Welcome to the creek side, which is also on the wild side. Okay, I thought this would be a cool dramatic effect. Oh, okay, my camera settings were, there we go. There's some cool dramatic effect. Let's do that again so I can see it. Hey, good morning, folks. All right, figuring things out. Really excited about this equipment that I've got, the new equipment. It's so much better than using my old phone. If I get a new iPhone, it'll probably be, I might go back to that because I can actually walk around. But for now, this is fantastic because I know the microphone works because it's not an old connection that Apple set up. All right, folks, welcome to the creek side and my cabin, and get some fire going. As somebody pointed out yesterday, it's all cattywampus because of the way that my camera and monitor is setting things up. It's got the fire on the wrong side. But anyway, speaking of Creekside, we finally got some rain, and it's supposed to rain this week. And up a little higher elevation, we got snow. So hopefully my creek will flow once again. That's the goal. Because I'm on the creek side here, but it's mostly a dry creek about 10 months of the year. This year we got lucky. It started flowing in December, if I remember right. And so it's nice to have water at this property. So, hey, good morning, guys. Hey, Stanley, good morning. And Craig, God bless Texas. And Royce and Jennifer, glad you guys made it. It's a happy Sunday to all. And I really got to get started making videos on this channel because I really want to redo that one that I tried on the live, which is the start of the philosophy of Christianity, which diverts from the theology of Christianity and just kind of takes the ideas that the Bible presents and challenges us as to whether or not that's the best way to live in society. And I've challenged a lot of these ideas, and separating myself from society and observing and being on social media and interacting with people, I really do think even within Christianity, the philosophy of Christianity is getting missed. So that's why that one's really important to me. But also communication. Have you guys heard of this guy, Andrew Wilson? Oh, I want to ask you guys about Andrew Wilson. Meanwhile, it rained in Oklahoma. So I guess you guys' hard winter is over. I forgot to talk about that, ask about it. But you guys down in Texas and Oklahoma, are you back to normal yet? I got a friend in Florida, and even he was getting cold weather, and I haven't checked back. I watch all this weather on my phone app, but sometimes I forget to peruse it. Anyway, hopefully y'all are back to normal weather now. And hopefully we get winter weather here. Mid-February, it's hard to say if we'll get some actual winter, but I'm hoping so. It's all low 40s in our prediction. It'll freeze one more time in Texas. Huh. That's an interesting idea. Hopefully you're done, but it always surprises us. Yeah, I guess that's the thing about February. We really don't know. We had some fluke marches. I think most of the country did, but I think those are so fluke that we can pretty much rule them out. Of course, once you say that, winter proves us wrong, but we'll see. Anyway, once we get through February, I think it's pretty much over. Not that I want it to be. I would rather get those longer March days and have it continue on in this weather. This is fantastic. Just a little more sunshine is all I need. So anyway, have you guys heard of Andrew Wilson? This guy, he's changed a little bit. So I found his videos, and he was kind of obnoxious because I've never been into debate. Ever since I was like 15 or 16 years old, I've been like against debate for communication. And because the gist of it is debate is about winning, whether you're right or wrong. And that's what they do in debate club. They give you a position, whether you believe it or not, until you try to win. And I get it if it's like looking for the facts and stuff, but debate inherently has tactics that aren't about finding the most logical, but just trying to win. And I don't like that, because I think the only way that you win when studying and researching is getting closer to the truth, not beating an opponent, because I don't want to beat that opponent. I want to find out if that opponent has actual truth, because that's the goal. So anyway, that's a little background on Andrew Wilson. He's a debater. And but now, if you think about the context of this world that we're in, we got all these wacko ideas out there, and every one of them wins in the social realm if they can get the most people to agree with it. Yeah. As I always say, I tried for years to have good discussions on social media. Like, I went good faith, actively tried to have discussions, because I believe that people have rational beliefs, but when confronted, a lot of times we don't. There's research on that people just don't respond the best way because it's a confrontation. But in trying to have these conversations, after a few years, I started to realize a lot of these people are not good faith. They don't have a rationale. A lot of them do. Like, a lot of these liberal beliefs that I'm very strongly against, some of them have a strong rationale. It doesn't mean they're right, but it doesn't mean they're dumb, but it means they're not dumb. They're thinking through it. They just have different values and different perspective. And so that's what I'm always looking for. Even if I disagree, I want to understand what other people believe and why they believe it, because it blows my mind that what people believe out there. Anyway, we got some crazy beliefs going on, and they're not well defended, and yet they dominate if you just get enough people shouting loudly with you and shouting down anybody who tries to propose a rational alternative. That's just the state of our society. It's always been that way, but it's thoroughly amplified with social media. And so that's why this Andrew Wilson guy, it's pretty interesting, because he goes in and debates these people. And he's highly logical and trained in, he's studied up, he's studied up on debate tactics and logic and all that. And so he just shows how unfounded these people, and a lot of them, they have YouTube channels and people listen to them. And then they go on and debate him, and it just really shows how not critical thinking they are. And they just attack him, of course, and use the same tactics you see on social media is what they use on him. And it's like, and I don't know, it almost seems like some of them are so dumb. I don't think that people are dumb. I think there's some people that are dumb, but most people, it's just our human nature that we adopt a belief and we tell it to ourselves, and confirmation bias and all of that. So it's like these layers that get piled on bad ideas, and from where you initially get off course. And so that's why I'm against debate, but in some circumstances, it's really valuable. Like seeing this guy illuminate their stupidity. We'll just call it stupidity. The stupid ideas. And he's actually doing a really valuable thing. He's anti-feminism, which I really appreciate. And he's got a lot of great points. He is a Christian nationalist, though. And I don't think Christian nationalism is right, according to the Bible even, but he does, but that's a pretty minimal issue. Anyway, communication, that's what I want to talk a lot about. I got so much to say on it. I've been studying it since I was 15 years old. And so communication and all this stuff that would just make our whole society, like trying to get to the root of the problem. Everybody's got, the problem with the world is this. And usually it's a valid problem. Like we all see problems. But what I try to do is I try to get to the root. Okay, but why does that problem exist? Is that the root of the problem? Or is that one of the symptoms of the root of the problem? And to me, communication is like way down there at the root, if it's not the root of the problem. I mean, obviously, people being flawed, that's the root of the problem. And believe it or not, a whole lot of people say people aren't flawed. That whole nature versus nurture thing, they blame the environment, which is why they believe in a utopia, that if we could just get society to adopt these utopian ways and kill off everybody that was raised badly and has that old mentality. This is the stuff they don't tell you, but this is what that philosophy really believes. And then we can have a utopia where it's a nurturing environment of peace and love, and then everybody will grow up right because they believe that people aren't flawed internally, which is very evil and leads to really bad stuff. But anyway, yeah, Stanley, we have some very crazy people out there. And so that's why I appreciate this guy, Andrew Wilson. He was on Joe Rogan. That's how I found him. And I think he's getting more and more popular. And of course, you can just imagine how much people hate him. They attacked his wife. I saw him with his wife on this one because he's very traditional. Like he was talking about these OnlyFans girls. Like that's the level of, apparently there's this podcast called the Whatever Podcast where I guess it's run by OnlyFans prostitutes, and they're telling the world how to live, and people listen to them. And so he goes on there and debates with them, and he went on with his wife, and he's talking about how, no, I don't do any housework at all. And they, of course, hated him for that. And they attacked his wife, saying that you control her and force her to do this stuff. And she got vocal and reprimanded them, saying, you don't know anything about our situation. I love my husband. I love my way of life. And she's written books on the subject too. Really impressive woman. And so anyway, yeah, you can imagine how much they hate him. But it's really fascinating. He's got great explanations, and his wife loves him. That goes a long way. All these OnlyFans prostitutes have no love in their life and are very narcissistic, and then tell other people how to live. It's just insane. So it's really fascinating to see him rising to the surface. It's like we always have these men speaking out truth. It's like one goes away. Jordan Peterson rose up for a while. He was this great voice, and then I wish he'd leave the Daily Wire because that's not the best for his. But I don't know. I guess he's got a good enough following, and it's keeping him happy. But he was a big voice for a while, and then he went away. Rogan was a big voice for a while. I don't know if Andrew Wilson will get bigger or what, but it's just interesting to see how it's a pattern that I've noticed throughout my life. defending manliness, essentially. But anyway, it's a rainy day, so it's a good day to sit by the fire and have tea. And, well, that's about what I like to do. Maybe I'll finish my book. I'm reading The Wizard of Oz because I just rewatched it. And I can't tell if that movie, well, let me put it this way. I think that movie was very anti-God. I can't help but think that the Oz was supposed to be symbolic for God. Like Nietzsche, the book was written in 1900. Nietzsche had 10 years before that said God is dead. And in the movie, Oz is essentially a God figure. And what do they literally do in the movie? Some people don't like the word literally, but it's still an appropriate word. They literally pull back the curtain on the God figure and expose that it's just a whole bunch of hype. I mean, that's so perfect for illustrating Nietzsche's writing. And it was written 10 years after. Now, the movie was made in 1940, though, I guess. So still, that postmodern way of thinking, that modern, I guess it's modern also, is very prevalent, especially in Hollywood. And also in the movie, it was really anticlimactic. Like, they had these great themes of the Scarecrow wanting a brain, the Tin Man wanting a heart, and the Lion wanting courage. But that was really anticlimactic. Like, I expected I couldn't remember how the movie went because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. And so I didn't remember the details. And I expected them to give like some profound meaning, like, because, you know, when they went to kill the witch, it was the Scarecrow who was using his brain. He was coming up with the ideas. And then it was the Tin Man who used his heart to fight persistently. I don't remember what happened exactly, but I saw at one point where it's like, it was because he believed and he kept at it, you know, showed heart and got them through a door or something. I don't remember what it was. And then the Lion, you know, he wanted courage and he had to rise to the occasion with courage. So it was like building up to these great lessons of, you know, just be courageous. You want courage? Be courageous. You want brains? Be smart. Be wise. If you want heart, just live with purpose and meaning. And but then instead, that just kind of went away at the end of the movie. It was just kind of almost like belittling it. And a lot of people aren't writers, so you might not understand what I'm talking about now. Is the people who say, anytime you look for meaning in a movie, there's always going to be one or two people that are saying, oh, it's just a story. And that's not true. I was even listening to a podcast of a screenwriter, and he said, yeah, we all put meaning into our stories. That's why we're writers. We all focus on that. And so I'm also wanting to do a video on that, talking about how movies and stories influence us without us knowing a lot of times. And so I'm heading that off, that these people do have stories, and you can watch these trends throughout Hollywood history as they tear down the morality of society. I think it's downright evil. I think most of the people in Hollywood are evil, but there's some amazing movies, and seems like some pretty neat people in Hollywood too. Like Rocky and Karate Kid are a couple of my favorite movies ever, and tell great lessons. And anyway, but in The Wizard of Oz, the way that it's written, it's just kind of, it really comes across as like, sarcastic, I guess, toward society. And so that's why I'm reading the book, because it made me think, okay, what was the original story? And even the book starts out, and this makes it weird because the book in the foreword, it says, this is just an entertaining story for kids. Like, it has no purpose beyond being entertaining, which will make the reader put their guard down. Oh, he's just writing it for fun. But kids especially learn lessons through stories. That's been going on for thousands of years. That's what mythology is, bedtime stories, all that stuff. It's always to teach a lesson. And so I think it's covertly teaching lessons. And so that's what I'm looking for in The Wizard of Oz. And that stuff fascinates me. And like I say, I'm going to do a video about that. We'll see how interested people are. And your man crush. Who? Oz, the wizard? Yeah. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff we can talk about here. The other channel is all just about how I live and history. And this one's going to be about how I live and philosophy. So anyway, Craig asks about my horseshoes. I got 2 horseshoes on, and I'm pretty sure I made a record. Granted, so the first shoe, I got it on in 30 minutes, but I had already done most of the trimming a few days prior. So the trimming was pretty quick and easy on that one. I forgot that until later. So 30 minutes is a record, but like I said, I had already done some of the work. So then I also remembered why it takes me so long, because after the first foot, then my back is hurting. I came and took a break to eat my dinner because I didn't want to do all that work and get my blood sugar low. So I took a break to eat, went back, did the other one in probably about 45 minutes, but I had to take a lot of breaks because the first one made my back tired. So anyway, I got the 2 on and pretty quick. And so I'm pretty happy about that. And then today, after this video, I'm planning to take the horses for a ride. Because if I stay on the roadway, I can do a lot of riding where her hind feet will be okay because it's not too rocky. What I don't want to do with her is just ride her across all the rocks, the worst rocks, without hind shoes on. So I'm going to take her out for some exercise. We'll go for a couple hours, go a few miles, let her eat, and then come back. And hopefully that'll make her arthritis feel good enough that I can trim and shoe her hind foot. And so I got the 2 hinds to still do. That's the short of that long story. Is hopefully I can get the other two done. I don't like doing the hind feet as much. A friend of mine, he prefers them, but to me, that's where the horse can actually really kick. I mean, they can kick with their front feet, but the fact is she won't try to kick me. I don't think. She's a good horse, but it's like a loaded gun. You always want to be careful with it. Stanley York says most stories are trying to get a point across. Yeah, they really are. I mean, we can find some that aren't, but for the most part, especially in those movies, I don't think Gone with the Wind was trying to put a point across. I think it was just a historical depiction about this narcissistic girl that created Fatal Attractions. I mean, so there are some stories in that, like how silly it is to chase a girl like Scarlett, I think, and how Melanie is the best woman. But yeah, anyway, I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies too. Where's Waldo? Where's Nancy Guthrie? All right. I haven't looked into that Nancy Guthrie story. If anybody wants to give me the details, you're welcome to. But just from looking into it, or not just from seeing it, how it pops up. Now, first off, I really do feel bad for whatever situation that poor woman is in. Total sympathy, but I don't trust anything. It's like we see those stories pop up, and it's just so clear to me that they're throwing them up there to distract us. And they use something like that so that I look like the bad guy if I'm saying, oh, it's just a distraction. Like, what, you don't care about this poor woman? Oh, I absolutely do. But of all the deaths and all the things going on, why does the media focus on that one? I mean, it makes a good headline and it's catchy. But it's why I'm a very compassionate person, but I have this rationale that using compassion to push a narrative is not the correct way to go. And why do I say that? Because if you want to be compassionate, then we would all be focused on heart disease and cancer, because the biggest killer by far is heart disease. So if you want to talk about compassion for life because you care about life, then let's all just focus on heart disease, because that's the biggest issue. And so I do care about people's lives, but when these people use it to push something, it's disingenuous. It's like, okay, we can be compassionate about every issue, but if that's why you're trying to say that your issue is the one to focus on, then you got to prove to me that it's more serious than heart disease. Yeah, there is something wrong with that whole story. Yeah, I don't doubt that one bit. I mean, it just comes up too conveniently, which also we'll talk about Massey. I'm going to put out a short video that I'm making. Everybody's jumping on board with Massey. To me, it's just so clear, all these tactics to keep Donald Trump from doing what he wants to do. And I'm speaking neutrally on that. Like, if you don't like Donald Trump, that's fine. But I'm not talking about whether he's good or bad. I'm saying it's so obvious. We know they've been attacking him. They attacked him really hard during his first presidency. And we know they're doing it again. Subliminal locks. Pretty interesting how the sheriff and everyone around the Nancy Guthrie story is telling us, the public, that flock cameras are super important. Oh, yeah. Flock cameras have been an issue. Okay, so then something comes up to justify the existence of flock. That could be it right there. And I won't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt one bit that the CIA is behind whatever happened to her. All right, maybe I should just move over here. I don't like blocking off the fire, though. I'll get this set up eventually. This is only the second time I'm using this this setup. I don't want to block off the fire. Maybe I can make this bigger. Nope, I don't think so. All right. Yes, exactly. Subliminal Locks just summed it right up. Massey is a politician. I mean, that's all we need to say. Come on, folks. What did Stanley say? Yeah. Oh, Stanley said there's something wrong with the whole story. Massey's a politician. That's all that needs to be said. Got to hide that. Stupid YouTube will there we go. Yeah. I ran into a problem with some Massey. The Massey supporters a lot of them are insufferable. I got a friend who's one. He's a comedian, and but he's a reasonable guy. But I ran across some Massey supporters. So I posted this thing about why I think somebody posted about Massey, and I said, yeah, but it's really dubious about this. You know, I don't remember what I put, but basically how he was quiet during the Biden administration, and now all of a sudden he's really vocal about the Epstein files, which I want the Epstein files exposed, but I'm not stupid enough to think that the government had a handle of them, and now that President Trump is in office, all of a sudden they want them released and that they didn't tamper with them. I mean, come on, people. How stupid are we to think that we're getting anything that's going to serve our purposes and not theirs? And so it's very clear that they've been pushing it all of a sudden because it'll harm Trump somehow. They know, maybe they knew he was going to try to not let them out. I don't know, but somehow, man, they really spun it. And it's worked. It's worked. They've been against Donald Trump for years, and now they have found the one. The media didn't work. That backfired on them because now we all know how pathetic the media is. But they tried having a combined effort via the traditional media. That backfired. It gave us the rise of podcasters, where we can find people who were less paid off. Now they're all getting paid off, I think, whether it's just through advertising or what. But anyway, it backfired on them. And now they've found the one that will divide. So they put up Massey as the alternative to Trump. So it doesn't have to be Kamala Harris, Biden, which anybody in their right mind, literal and literally their correct mind or in their right-wing mind, is not going to go to Kamala Trump. But then you present them somebody like Massey, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I can navigate over to him. Sure. But he's a tool. And then you manipulate this Epstein files thing so that the people think they're actually getting information, and that oh my gosh. Oh, this stuff just drives me nuts. All right, we're going to have to stay on this topic for a little bit. So you got to, here's a worldview, I guess. A view about the world is that if the people rise up in violence, that's a bad thing. Even though it worked somewhat for the revolution, the American Revolution, for the most part, it doesn't work. And that's a quick way to justify martial law and even a more powerful government. So if you understand and know the reality that the government wants more power, there's a track of history ever since the signing of the ratification of the Constitution. There's a whole history track of the federal government going for more power. So if you don't see that, then you're not going to get any of this. But if you understand that the government is always trying to get more power, then you understand that if there is I don't want to say the word because of YouTube, but if the people unite and rise up against the authority, the government, that's the best thing for the government, because at this point they still have the military on their side and they got other countries that they're friends with. And then they can also justify martial law, and at least half the country will be happy for it, because as soon as violence happens, you take a side. So the best thing that could happen for them is an uprising. And so that's why these Epstein files, they don't serve us. I mean, yeah, we want to know the truth. A lot of us have known the truth. The truth has been there for years, and people were ignoring it. So don't tell me that all of a sudden you care about it because the Epstein files come out. Like all the people laughing about the Pizzagate thing, how many of them are saying, oh man, I was wrong. Look at the word pizza in here over and over being used for pedophilia. And yet they were laughing about it when it was a conspiracy theorist. I mean, sure, that guy that went to the pizza parlor was kind of a moron. He was too caught up and was just wrong. But and that might have been staged to discredit it all. Oh my goodness, it's just so vast. Anyway, so then so they found a way to divide to be anti-Trump, and that, like I say, is to put up a shill called Massey, who people are convinced is some noble truth warrior. And I got to post this video that I'm making. It's just a simple, quick video where he was on the Jimmy Dore show, and Jimmy Dore made a point. This is what the video is about. Jimmy Dore made a point about how the oligarchy wants us masses to be fighting with each other, because when we do, then we're divided and they can control us easier. And then Massey responded saying, yeah, you're right. Like a politician, he brought up, when I passed this bill, it passed because we were all united on it and not fighting. And then he said, and this is where it got really manipulative. And I emphasize this point in the video. I'll show it. He says, Jimmy, you make a good point that the politicians are divided because of the constituents, because they want the politicians to be angry at each other. So if the people would quit doing that, then the politicians could get more done. Now I'm using my own words, but it's basically that clear. But he does it so quick, and Jimmy Dore didn't push back or pick up on it. And I'm like, I've barely listened to any Massey stuff, but in the past few days, since on Facebook those douchebags piled on me about how great Massey is and how stupid I am, which was just classic dumbness. So I've heard a few things from Massey, and I'm like, why does anybody think this guy is anything but a grifter? Like, it's just so apparent to me. But anyway, I'll post that video. It was really, really blatant. And and so with those guys, so somebody posted about Massey, and I brought up, well, it's kind of weird that Massey is just all of a sudden being vocal and a few things, and they just piled on me. One guy called me a filthy liar. And it's like, dude, I'm just making claims. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. And another guy, he's kind of a classic meathead. And so they all piled up against me. And I was like, it was really, really kind of interesting. That's why I like doing that social media stuff, because where I might have thought, well, me and Massey followers are basically on the same page, which is what I thought. But then you interact with them and you realize, okay, these guys are loopy. It's a new kind of TDS. It's just a new strain of the virus, of the TDS virus. It's popping up in a libertarian strain. And I don't think Trump is perfect. I never did. I still don't. I didn't like him back before when he was a womanizer and all the world thought his show was so great. And I'm like, you guys are stupid for lifting up this guy who's all about money, all about power, and all about womanizing. Like, even guys who hate him now, liberal that I know, hates him, absolutely hates him. And he liked him back when his show was on. Those people make no sense. But anyway, I just think that he's doing some good things, and that's what I want to keep doing. Like cleaning up the federal finances, that's a big deal. And look at what happened. Riots, attacks, and those weren't grassroots. That was instigated to get him to stop. And it worked. Doge went away, and we're not we're not cleaning up all that government waste. Now the fraud comes up, and for some reason we're pulling ice out of Minnesota. Anyway, all right, let's see. Did you see the? All right, let's catch up on these comments. Lots of thoughts on this stuff. I see Jennifer and Subliminal Locks are having a discussion. Oh, it's amazing how much stuff we have going on in the world. Yes, and so much stuff is key, because as long as they're battering us around, I talked about this in my video that I took down, I think it was, where they're just battering us. They've got us up against the ropes. I used a boxing analogy where they got us up against the ropes and they're just hitting us left and right and uppercuts and jabs and hooks. The more they can throw at us, the less we can keep up. And that's why I've quit looking at, I enjoyed looking at political stuff. But after a while, I started to realize it's almost like every day there's a new thing. And so I realized it's just pointless. And that's the thing to realize, is that they're throwing stuff at us. And that's a tactic. Speaking of debate tactic is you batter them with multiple ideas that aren't related, just a whole bunch of multiple ideas, so that the person is on the defensive. And that's what all these argument tactics are about, all these fighting tactics, to get them on the defensive, which is same with boxing. I mean, there's probably some defensive boxing strategies that work, but how stupid are we, dumb enough to buy bottled water? That reminds me of back when Jim Gaffigan was a funny comedian, and he says he had that bit about, he says, I think bottled water came from some French guy. Like, how stupid do I think the Americans are? We can sell them water. Something like that. That was a horrible accent. I'm trying to portray him doing his accent. Anyway, it was a really hilarious bit. That was back when bottled water was more of a new thing. Anyway, middle of Blue River, paying for water in the middle of Blue River, Oregon. People selling our waters. Yeah, well, that's the reality now. We have to buy water because they've ruined it. Our creek water is dirty and our city water is horrific. I can barely take a shower in city water. It's so chlorinated. Yes, they're trying to convince us to revolt. Did I see the manifesto by the dude who set himself on fire in front of Trump Tower? If I did, I don't remember it. Yeah, that stuff is just so loopy. Like, who falls for that? He's like, yeah, we need to be against Trump because of this moron lighting himself on fire. Yeah, Jimmy's awesome. Jimmy Dore is really cool. I was surprised when I posted stuff on Facebook by him. People just discredit him. Like these guys, they wouldn't even look at the video. I said, it's not Jimmy Dore talking. It's this guest that he has on his video. I said, so it's okay if you don't like Jimmy Dore. It's not Jimmy Dore talking. It's his guest. It's a video clip he shows. They wouldn't even look at it. They just said, no, Jimmy Dore's a grifter. I won't look at it. Like, what kind of sense does that make? And that's what I'm running. That's what I'm realizing is most people. That's why I want to talk about communication and why I appreciate Andrew Wilson. I want to use some videos to make points about how people communicate, because we are so bad at communicating. Like, for somebody that I thought I was friends with, well, I was friends with them. Two guys in that Jimmy Dore example. Like, I feel like they respect me. I respect them. And so I felt like they would, okay, you don't like Jimmy, but at least you'll listen to this video that Jimmy shows on his show. So, okay, that's fine. You don't like Jimmy, don't listen to him a bit. But they wouldn't even listen to it. And that was just really eye-opening, that people are that biased and bad at communication. Like, that's a communication thing. It's like, oh, you can't find any other video. Nobody else is covering this. So you have to use Jimmy Dore. okay, I see what you're saying. And so it's just the Jimmy Dore is the platform to show this video, but they couldn't get past that. And so if we can't communicate like that, we're lost. If we can't communicate because of that kind of a stupid conundrum, the government wins. I mean, they can just have their way with us when men aren't being reasonable, when men are acting like liberal feminists. That's a lost cause. And that's why I live out here in the wilderness. I'm fine, guys. If China takes over America, I'm probably fine. I don't think they're going to come through and kill all the Americans. That never happens when a country takes over another empire or nation. Then just be like, oh, you're out there in the wilderness? Well, maybe they'd come and take some of my stuff, but I'm fine. It's you guys in the cities that are screwed. So the only reason I'm talking about this stuff, it's not for me, because I'm fine. It's for all the people in cities that they need to wake up, need to quit. All right. Anyway, I don't want to get mean. So I like Jimmy Tintin. Jimmy is a stoner comedian. His current position was incidental. He fell into it. He's no longer a stoner. He quit smoking pot. Which is kind of cool. A lot of these podcasters, maybe because they're getting older, but they're starting to realize atheism is silly, and getting stoned all the time is not a way of life that is meaningful. So it's cool to see a lot of these podcasters going that way, going toward family. A lot of them have families. They love their families. They love their kids. It's neat. I like to see that. Brains and a horse homesteader. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I wish I had more brains, but I won't talk about all the failures that I don't go into. Paid protesters, yeah. I'm also not required to do any hoop jumping. Yeah, Subliminal Locks, for those of you who don't know, she also lives a cool lifestyle. You live in a bus, don't you, if I remember right? My aunt is the same. She won't watch Jimmy. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, he's the guy that is bringing up all kinds of stuff that people won't go into. He's not a grifter at all. Like, he's not, the ones that I call grifters are the guys who have ads every 5 minutes. So they get these conversations going and then they cut off so that you listen to him. Like, that's who I don't trust. He has ads at the end, and rarely he even has ads. He'll promote his shows at the end. And no, I don't see anything about him being a grifter. I've heard him admit when he's wrong. I've seen him change his position on things. And so when somebody calls him a grifter, it's more telling about their inadequacy. Selling water, hose flavored water. That's good. Oh, that's Royce. Yeah, good one. Yeah, have the logo could be kid drinking out of the hose. That's hilarious. That's a good one. I bet people would buy that. All right. Yeah, I'm drinking out of a hose right now. Actually, I quit drinking out of my water. I think that some of the groundwater got into my well. It was giving me a stomach ache. So I'm kind of waiting for the ground to dry up. I've been having to buy spring water. So I support you. We need many men like you out here sharing the knowledge. I want to start a camp for kids, teach them skills. Yeah, I used to want to do a lot of stuff like that. And now I'm just so bad with people, and I don't know if I ever will, but it'd be fun to have kids come out, like have groups, bring a group of kids. I lead them around showing them showing them all the wildflowers and all the wild roots out here. Because, like I've said, when I was a kid, I just looked at the brown hills and thought, man, that's boring. I wish we lived in the forest. And now that I own property in the brown hills, and I've learned about all the native foods growing, absolutely love it. I mean, I also acquired an appreciation for the desert before that, or at the same time. But I'd like to share that with kids so that local kids would realize how cool it is around here. I stayed stone straight and found Jesus. That's awesome, Royce. Was that marijuana, or were you doing mushrooms as well? I'm very fascinated by ayahuasca and DMT. There's another guy, gosh, speaking of, he's a physicist and he believes strongly in God. His name, Philip Campbell, I think. Thomas Campbell. Man, I'm bad with names. He was on Rogan also. That's where I found him, and that guy's fascinating. Subliminal locks. I just quit tobacco up and decided one day and kept at it. I challenged myself. I'm quitting cannabis. I hate smoke as it is. Well, that's good. That stuff is super unhealthy. Smoking is just unhealthy. Bad for your teeth and everything. Been learning a lot about teeth because my teeth got problems now. Stanley says, us homesteaders are not brainwashed by those who think they are in charge. Yes, absolutely. There's nothing like getting out in the wilderness. Also, Stanley, forgive me, I didn't realize you're in a homestead situation. That's awesome. Stanley York. Are you in New York? No offense. Just kidding. I'm clean now and it's amazing. Yeah, really happy. Been cool watching you, Royce, come around. We should let people be grumpy and antisocial. Where are our grumpy old men today? My problem is I'm not grumpy. I hate society. We are such bad communicators. We're so freaking rude that I just can't stand it. I don't like going to the store where you go into a business to spend money on their business. And it's even worse when it's like a locally owned business and they don't bother to say hi. Hey, how you doing? Welcome in. They aren't friendly. They just like expect you to spend money. And then people post support local business. Like, no, I'm not going to support them. Go pay more for bad service. I'll just go pay less at Walmart and let them and be a part of or just buy it on Amazon. Anyway, so it's not, I mean, maybe I'm grumpy. I just have such a low tolerance for society, for our poor communication and just how rude. It's just so rude and selfish the way our society is. And like I actually like people. I like having good interactions. It's fun, but and also people are so stressed out. At least you notice a big difference in all my traveling. I travel to liberal states. I travel through them. I travel to the conservative states. And even in Texas, the closer you are to Austin, the more grumpy and uptight people are. Then you get outside of Austin, because Austin's a really liberal place. You get outside of there and people are friendly. They're at ease a little bit. I mean, it's still stressful there because prices are expensive, but you get into those small towns and people are normal again. And then you get up into these liberal states like Washington, and it's like you can just see it. You can go to a smaller town, even in Washington, where it's not. We're kind of close. We're really influenced by Seattle here in my town, and you can just notice it, and it's pretty wild. People just upset because that's what liberalism, I'm generalizing, but liberalism, progressivism, it's feminism. The core of it is all you guys are evil, all this evil, everything's bad. and we have to fight it. That's like the core of the beliefs. And so if you have a worldview that everybody's bad and every viewpoint is against you, I mean, how happy are you going to be? They thrive on making people unhappy. That's the strategy. And that doesn't mean the right-wing conservatism is great, but you can see a difference. Saw it in doing comedy too. Like a comedian, a conservative comedian, you get pushback if you go to a liberal crowd. I experienced it. I saw all this stuff firsthand. But meanwhile, I'd see liberal comedians go into a conservative crowd, and the conservatives just laugh and have a good time. Like this one guy, he was a headliner, and a big part of his show was, I'm a male feminist. Like that was a big part of his show, and the crowd loved him. All these conservatives up in the mountains. This was a show up in a really small area. They all loved him, had a good time, talked to him afterward. But if you get a conservative going into liberal crowds, they glare at you. They don't laugh. They especially don't talk to you. And but a lot of people are in denial about that. They'll barrage you with hate if you bring that up, especially in the comedy world. So I'm so glad to be out of comedy. I did not enjoy. In Texas, it was a lot more fun. People were more real down there. Okay, way too many messages for me to read. If anybody's talking to me, well, let's see. All right, be grumpy and antisocial. DMT is cray. You see the flower of life in the daytime sky. Everyone sees it. Geometric pattern. I was vaping. I can't do smoke. Homesteading's in your future plans. Yep, you guys you'll make it one day. Oh, Stanley, you're in Texas. I didn't realize that. Cool. Making my own clothes and weaving my own fabrics. Oh, you weave. That's really cool. I've got tons of wool, but but I decided I'm not going to get into spinning and weaving. Craig smoked but didn't inhale, nor did he have sexual relations with that girl. I'm in Washington State. Yeah, doing all this stuff as a single mom is horribly difficult. I was raising a kid for 3 months. He was an 11-year-old kid that his mom wasn't supposed to have him back home because he was violent against her. And the court said he can't go home. And so I said, well, I'll take him. So I homeschooled him while I was going to college. And the main thought going through my mind is, why in the world does society push this on women? Like, I just thinking this would be so much easier if I wasn't alone. If I had a woman, if I was married, raising a kid would be so much easier. And I'm thinking, man, why? Because society has been pushing it. They don't present it that way, but ever since I was a kid, they were pushing single mothers, because what they first do is they stigmatize anybody who thinks that divorce is bad. So they made. I remember watching this as a kid. We had an assembly. I don't know what you guys call it across the nation, but they stopped classes, had all the kids go into the gym, sit on the bleachers while we had these weirdos come and indoctrinate us. And it was all about how divorce isn't bad and how we need to accept people who have been divorced. And they had teachers come and stand up front who were divorced. And as a kid, I got caught up in it. Like, I was all wrapped up in it. Like, oh yeah, and there is some truth to it. We shouldn't be shaming people for flaws. But my 8th grade teacher, she was a weirdo. Pretty sure she had a crush on me. And she was one of the teachers who went up. And then in class, she was talking about it. Like, why are we talking about your divorce in our history class? And she was saying, yeah, wow, I I really realized I do have a lot of shame about my divorce, because that's what it was about not being ashamed of your divorce. This was back in the early 90s. And she was saying, when I was able to talk about it in front of everybody, I realized how freeing that was and how much shame I had over it, which all that sounds like it's a good thing. Like, I believe in grace and that guilt and shame is evil. But when you use it to justify evil, then it's perverse. That's like the definition of perversion. And so what I'm saying is I've seen these step by step as they progressively, and then there was shame on people. There was this whole, I remember when it started that they were really defending strippers, how stripping was supposed to be a viable way of making a living and making a lifestyle. And they're just pushing this stuff on society. Now it's just normal that we're supposed to, as society, we're supposed to view that as good. We're supposed to view single motherhood as a viable lifestyle, which of course we shouldn't shame them, but it's not a goal. That's the point. It's not an ideal. Anyway, man. Way different than the other channel, isn't it? I homestead, but I'm not on electric. You're crazy when you have manners like opening doors for them. Or if we're at Walmart, I'll take older people cart to the stalls so they don't have to. It's like they've seen a ghost. Even where you're at, because I think of the South, like when I was in Texas, it was so nice. It was like going back in time 30 years, back to when people were kind and friendly. Granted, the traffic was horrible where I was. I was too close to Austin. But like everybody was friendly. You could talk to anybody in the like the cashiers. They're all friendly, talking. They bag up your groceries. They don't do that here in Washington. You're lucky to even get a cashier line at the grocery store. They'll open like one or two in a big grocery store. Maybe they'll have one or two open, and then you got to go through the do-it-yourself thing. And then even if the cashier is open, very few of them have bag boys, as we used to call them, which is now misogynistic to say. But anyway, so I saw that in Texas. So I'm surprised that Oklahoma is very much different. That, yeah. You love spinning. Yeah, spinning is cool. I got good enough where I was actually able to, it wasn't great yarn, but I was able to do it. And I could see how sitting in front of a movie doing that could be very relaxing. So I may not give up on spinning, but I did give up on weaving. That's just more than I want to tackle. But then to get into it, then you got to start processing wool, or you got to buy it. And it's just really involved. I would love to set up a whole wool production place here on my property, but I don't want to do it. They want single person's economy. Yep. Yeah, it all comes down to money and power. Also, when it adds to the stress. They want everybody stressed out, and single people are more stressed out, especially if they got kids, even though they don't want people having kids. But that's because the globalists believe we're overpopulated. I was a liberal feminist from 8th grade until 25. Yeah, most girls are. When I hit 30, my brain kicked in. I'm 42 now, and it's all so clear. Yeah. Yep, that's why they constantly go after kids. That's why they're indoctrinating kids to be against ICE. It's okay if kids are against ICE if they're making their own decisions, but we know they're not doing that. But yeah, they're constantly going after kids, just like Hitler did. It's all the same tactics. Here's the thing. People call it conspiracy theories because you hear about these wacko things going on. Now, the average person, what are they doing? They get a job. They're raising kids. They're probably driving kids around to sports. They might have a hobby. Good country people are four-wheeling and going shooting. And they don't I mean, average people don't have time to be studying what techniques did Hitler use in order to indoctrinate Poland before he attacked them. And I mean, it's a little easier now to run across a video on YouTube, but I don't have any examples coming to mind. I forget. I need to write these names down. But like, there's books about written like by ex-CIA guys. There's books written on how to manipulate a population, like the techniques that you go through to do it. And we have history of how Rome led and how then the Western powers, how they dominated. We got the Dutch and then the English were the dominating powers. There's people who have time to study that. And because they're powerful politicians, it's in line with what they're doing. And so to the average person, what sounds like a conspiracy to them is more like, no, this is just how you go about it. Like there's studies or tons of information on this stuff. I haven't been studying it. I just pick up on enough to know that it's going on. But the point is, it's not a conspiracy theory to the people whose business it is. Another example that's completely different is a lot of people don't understand money. Like people who understand money, you literally, there's that word again that people mislike, you get money and you make money just managing your own money. I wish I would have known that when I was 16. People told it to me, but I didn't really grasp it. I didn't understand that once you get a certain amount of money, you can just make money managing money. And now to the average person who's working a full-time job and they make money by working overtime shifts, the whole idea of money is so vastly different from one person to the next. That's what I'm trying to say. Like the average person, there's a lot of people who understand the stock market, but a lot of people who don't. And I was one of those. And so if you told them all you have to do is make $20,000 and then start managing it, they'd be like, yeah, that's hogwash. You're just trying to get my $20,000. Who has $20,000? A lot of people even believe that. I used to believe that until I started making money. And it blew my mind. I started realizing, wow, there's actually people out there. When I was a realtor, like somebody putting $100,000 down on a house, it was just eye-opening. Like you might kind of understand it, but when you see it, then it's like, oh, there actually are people with money. And so that's just another example to what is normal to some people would seem unbelievable to other people. So whether it's the kind of money that people make or whether it's what they consider conspiracy theories, manipulation of populations, that's why we all got to be open-minded in the sense that this is a big world and we all don't know what's going on. All right. As a woman, my sexuality is the least interesting thing about me. Yeah, my goodness, people making their whole identity about what kind of sex they like to have. And the retort is, well, that's what you males did. It's all about being single. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, we don't go around putting it on our t-shirts that I'm straight pride. We don't make our identity about it. It's just, I'm straight, so this is what I do. And it's just so bizarre when you really step back and think about how many people, their whole identity is wrapped up in what kind of sex they like to have. Like, what a waste of life. I knit a lot these days. Yeah, knitting's cool. I really want to do what I probably will do eventually. I've tried it before. Is felting, because felting works fast. It's a very warm clothing, and it's simple to do. I'm not looking to hire anyone to do wool industry. I'm more like setting it up, and if somebody wants to do it, they can. Oh, yeah, you guys are. Oh, I forget that you guys are living in a big city now, or I didn't know that. Jennifer and Royce, which I guess it's Royce commenting. That's why my son is homeschooled. He's protected from it all. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, it's so good for a boy. A lot of girls too, but man, I wish we would have done this. My mom made me go to school. I quit school in the middle of the 9th grade, and then my mom made me homeschool with her because she was in college, so I went to school with her, and that was kind of fun, but it was pointless. But she asked teachers' permission. She had some cool teachers, and they let me sit in on their classes. And then I had to go to school. She told me I had to go to college. So I went back to college, but not high school. I quit school in 5th grade. My mom made me her nanny. Then we dual enrollment once I was 14 at the yeah, nice. That's the way to go. High school is just indoctrination, especially when the way that they've geared community college. The first 2 years of college is like high school anyway. You're just kind of redoing everything. So I really advocate for people who are independent, just quit school and go to college, or at least do online high school. It's such a waste. We still live in Geronimo, but we do everything in Lawton. Oh, okay. Which is a military base town. Interesting. Whew, well, we covered some serious topics today, that's for sure. If anybody else has got any comments, questions, feel free. Hopefully it's not raining so I can ride my horse. I mean, I still could, but we'll see. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't ridden her since like last August. So hopefully I can get this going again where it's every day. I was noticing it needs wood. I forgot I got firewood sitting right here. Letting the fire die down. This is the life, folks. It's not the life that they push on you. This thing is so cool. For those who might not have heard, this is from a plant that grows all over the place around here. Just got to break off the stem, and it's already hollow. And it works so good for getting the fire roaring, especially when a lot of my firewood is damp around here, because I don't hide it out. Wish we could talk because my southern accent trying to sound words and attack skills suck. Yeah. Yeah, that thing's great. Sometimes it's nice to blow without it just to get a broad air on the fire, but then you got to be so close that it gets hot really fast. And I've timed it like without that stick, I can really only blow for about 5 seconds, maybe. With that thing, I'm blowing for like 20 seconds, which makes a big difference. Yeah, Stanley, you've probably done some cool things, and you got that good philosophy of life, that country way of life that society has been dismantling. That's something else I need to talk about, is how society has dismantled that rural way of living. I mean, we just went through a phase of demonizing it. That's what the whole the anti-MAGA thing is a lot of demonization of country people. They call it MAGA. They use Trump but it wasn't really about that. It was a platform so that they can demonize country people, because country people are the kind who don't need the government and don't need cities. And civilization, we've got thousands of years of this, and it's nothing new. In the earliest civilization of Sumer, they had issues with country people opposing civilization. They were an obstacle. It's been an obstacle for thousands of years. And now they've made some really strong headway. Anyway, Subliminal Lux, she does live streams on her YouTube channel, in case any of you want to check her out. Can't, never, come, or I think that was a typo, that last word you said there, Craig. But yeah, I've also ruled out shouldn't. Shouldn't is a word I've taken out. So anyway. All right. Well, folks, I think, could. Can't, never could. Well, this has been fun. I'm glad I'm finally getting going on this channel. I got a couple of videos I need to post. I might just post that short video. It'll be a short showing Massey and his accidentally exposing who he really is. So I might put that together today. It's a rainy day. Good thing to do on the computer. But first, I'll probably go out, walk the dogs, and then exercise the horses. So thanks, everybody. Lots of good communication here. Lots of good comments and discussion. Important topics. So this has been a whole lot of fun. All right. Well, hope you have a good Sunday and the rest of the week. I'll catch you all later. And even though this is the creek side, we can still remember life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.